A woman from Phoenix recovering in an Idaho hospital tonight, badly injured by a bison at Yellowstone National Park.
This is scary stuff. Her fiance witnessed the entire thing. He was there with her.
Go grab a cup of coffee at the cafe and just go out and soak up nature for a little bit. And it took a turn for the worse really quickly.
A gruesome bison attack turned a romantic moment into a fight for life at one of the most beautiful places on earth. This is ultimate misfortune. An attempt to propose marriage is met with a disastrous outcome in this episode. Chris and Amber are enjoying a stroll through Yellowstone National Park, which is a wonderful setting. As Chris is about to get down on one knee and ask the question, a bison barrels towards them. This happens just as Chris is about to make his move. As it approaches the couple, it charges directly at them and pushes its horns into Amber, which causes her to be propelled through the air. There was a time when millions of American bison roamed the Great Plains, but they have since been brought back from the brink of extinction.
It is called Lake Village. There are trails and paths that go right down to the lakeside, and that's what they were planning on doing that the morning this all happened. And they say that bison attacked without warning.
And I looked over my shoulder, and she was 8-10 feet in the air and landed right on her back.
The American bison are a species that is considered to be the emblematic species for North America. Prior to the arrival of Europeans in North America, it was estimated that there were as many as 30 million bison roaming the wide grasslands throughout the continent. As a result of diligent and extensive conservation efforts, it is presently believed that there are just over 30,000 of them. This represents a significant increase given that their numbers were as low as 1,000 in the 1800s. Most people get the impression that they are gentle giants, since they are frequently seen grazing in the verdant pastures of the national parks in the United States of America, or laying on the ground and chewing their cud. When measured at the shoulder, their enormous bodies can reach a height of 7 feet, and males can weigh up to 2,200 pounds, which is equivalent to 1,000 kilograms. According to estimate, there are a little less than 6,000 bison living in Yellowstone National Park. In order to witness them in their natural environment, tourists travel from all over the world. The bison that are seen in Yellowstone National Park are descendants of the original herds that roamed North America 200 years ago. In a fortunate turn of events, the ancestors of the Yellowstone bison that they are today managed to survive the mass slaughter that nearly led to the extinction of the species. Although they appear to be calm, these herbivores are capable of delivering a tremendous punch. They are able to gore any perceived threat by using their horns and crashing into that threat at a speed of 35 miles per hour while carrying 2,000 pounds behind them. Herds of bison can create a circle with the calves in the middle when they are encircled by wolves. In order to protect the young, the bison will lower their heads and point their horns outward.
A getaway from the heat that we're having here in the valley. Here's Yellowstone, and this couple, they were staying at a very popular spot at Yellowstone. It's up here on the north side.
Praise to God, she doesn't have to have surgery, but it is going to be a long road to recovery for her.
Park rangers have been making an effort to alert people about the potential dangers that may be present in Yellowstone National Park, which receives more than 4 million tourists annually. There are some individuals who are getting too close to the bison because they have been lulled into a false sense of security. Whenever it comes to bison and other large creatures like elk, bighorn sheep, deer, moose, and coyotes, it is imperative that a distance of at least 25 yards is maintained at all times. Nevertheless, when it comes to bears, it is recommended that you maintain a distance of at least 100 yards from them. However, there are those individuals who are simply not paying attention to the warning. In a study conducted in 2018, it was shown that out of the 25 occurrences of bison assaults that happened between the years 2000 and 2015, 21 of them occurred while people were within 6 meters or 20 feet away. A number of the individuals who were hurt were in the process of approaching the bison when it charged them, leading them to sustain significant injuries. In the midst of a romantic holiday, Chris Whitehill was accompanied by his girlfriend, 47-year-old Amber Harris. Chris had been preparing their vacation to Wyoming for a considerable amount of time before they actually went there. Yellowstone National Park was the location where he intended to make his proposal to Amber. That would be a proposal that would live long in the memory. A romantic stroll through the woods along the north bank of Yellowstone Lake. For the national park, Yellowstone Lake is the greatest body of water that can be found there. This area is located in the southeast section of the park and offers a total of 110 miles of shoreline for visitors to explore. Even though Amber was unaware of it, Chris was making his way way toward a natural wooden bridge that was located further along the trail. While he was there, he would propose to Amber by kneeling down and asking her to be his wife. This, however, was not to be. Chris's plans were thrown into chaos so that they could not even make it to the bridge before it was too late. After spending only one night in the park, the couple went to a cafe that was located close to Lake Lodge Cabin, which were located next to Yellowstone Lake. While they were there, they savored a cup of coffee before setting out on their walk, which is a walk that Chris had already mapped out in his thoughts. Following the trail, it moved away from the wooden cabins and headed in the direction of the lake. Around 20 elk were seen on the grass while they were walking down the trail. They stopped what they were doing and remained silent as the herd moved on. After that, they moved to the side when a group of people went by them on the trail. The walk was a popular one among tourists since it was a leisurely stroll that offered breathtaking vistas and a plethora of species to observe along the route. However, the path was obstructed by something in the center of a field, which was located halfway to the water's edge. They came to the realization that there were 2 bison on the trail when they paused to take a closer look at where they were. The couple came to a complete and utter halt. The enormous beasts were hardly 50 yards distant from them. Chris and Amber were awestruck for a brief period of time before they came to the conclusion that it would be more prudent to provide the animals with some distance. But it was too late. The bison suddenly charged and proceeded with its assault. They could not get away. While standing on top of her, it thrust its horns into her chest and shook its head from side to side. Chris was unable to do anything but watch as his fiancée endured excruciating pain while lying powerless beneath the big head of the bison. Blood covered her entire body. He screamed and hollered at the beast, making a valiant effort to divert its attention away from her. Amber was being gored by the bison, which had sharp horns that were giving potentially lethal blows to her breast and abdomen. The pair from Phoenix, Arizona, felt as though they had been waiting for an eternity, despite the fact that the onslaught only lasted a few seconds. A considerable amount of damage was already done in that short amount of time. Backing away from the other buffalo, the bison made its way back to the spot where they were standing. Chris hurried to Amanda's side. It was a dreadful state that she was in. The blood was dripping from her mouth and she was having a hard time breathing. She was losing consciousness and was unable to move her leg. Although Chris called the emergency services and begged them to hurry and get his girlfriend out of the situation alive, her injuries were so severe that it was possible she might not survive. He spoke to her in a calm manner while holding her hand. Amber made an effort to maintain her composure. While she was struggling to draw a breath, she was experiencing an unbelievable level of anguish, and the feeling of terror started to take control. She did, however, have faith in God. She had faith that He would safeguard her and ensure that she would continue to live. There was a puncture in both of her lungs, and blood began to fill them. Her spine was broken, and her abdomen was torn. The couple heard the reassuring sound of the emergency helicopter, the spinning of its blades as it flew closer and closer to them. This occurred not long after the emergency call was made. As a result of the goring, Amber sustained 2 punctured lungs, 7 spinal fractures, and deep bruises. She was transported by helicopter to Eastern Idaho Regional Medical Center, where she received treatment for her injuries. While she was in the hospital, her daughter Riley and Chris remained by her side throughout the entire ordeal. He was not going to let the bison completely derail his intentions to propose marriage. When Amber's health stabilized and she was making progress towards recovery, he got down on one knee and proposed to her while she was lying in the hospital bed. Amber, who was wearing a back brace to immobilize her spine, responded affirmatively without any sign of hesitancy. We hope you enjoyed the video. Don't forget to subscribe, like the video, and share the channel. Click the bell to get notifications. Tell us about your thoughts in the comments below. Thank you for watching Ultimate Misfortune.